The sound of clippers buzzes through the dimly lit police station as Officer Daniels smirks, gripping the trembling woman's shoulder. Her name is Angela, a hardworking mother, her hands clenched into fists as strands of her hair fall to the cold floor. Her only crime: a minor traffic violation that somehow escalated into this humiliating abuse of power. But just as Officer Daniels moves to take another strip of her dignity, the station doors fly open. A voice, firm, controlled, but filled with barely contained fury, cuts through the room. "Step away from my mother." All heads turn. Standing there in a sharp suit, his presence commanding, is Marcus, the attorney who has never lost a case. And tonight, he isn't here as a lawyer. He's here as a son. Officer Daniels freezes, but the damage is already done. Now it's Marcus's turn to take control. And he's not leaving without justice. Angela's eyes well up as she meets her son's gaze. She had stayed strong through it all, refusing to let them see her break. But now, with Marcus here, the weight of it crashes down on her. The humiliation, the fear, the helplessness. Her once neatly styled hair is now uneven, patches missing where the officer had shaved with careless cruelty. Marcus steps forward, his voice steady but razor sharp. "What's the charge?" His question hangs in the air, but the officers hesitate. The room is thick with unspoken tension. They know who he is. Marcus Reynolds, the lawyer who has made a career out of exposing corruption. And now, standing before them, he's demanding answers. Officer Daniels clears his throat. "She was resisting arrest," he mutters, but his confidence is cracking. Marcus tilts his head, taking in his mother's torn dress, the bruises on her wrists. His jaw tightens. "Then show me the footage." Silence lingers in the room. Officer Daniels shifts uncomfortably, his hand tightening around the clippers still warm from use. His fellow officers glance at each other, unsure of how to proceed. The body camera footage, if it even exists, will tell the real story. And that's exactly what Marcus wants. Angela's breathing is uneven, but she straightens her shoulders. She has fought too hard in life to be broken now. She watches as her son, the boy she raised to be fearless, stands between her and the man who abused his power. Daniel scoffs. "We don't have to show you anything," he says, but his voice lacks its usual arrogance. Marcus doesn't blink. "Then you won't mind me making a few calls. Maybe to the press, maybe to internal affairs." He pulls out his phone. Daniels's jaw clenches. Other officers whisper. They know Marcus isn't bluffing. And if that footage exists, it could change everything. The tension in the room thickens. A few officers exchange uneasy glances, while others avoid looking at Marcus altogether. They know what's at stake. If that footage sees the light of day, it won't just be Officer Daniels answering for his actions. It could bring scrutiny to the entire department. Daniels exhales sharply, trying to regain control. "Look, maybe we got off on the wrong foot," he says, forcing a smirk. "Your mother was being difficult. Things escalated." His attempt at downplaying the situation only fuels Marcus's anger. His grip tightens around his phone. "Difficult?" He repeats, voice dangerously calm. He turns to his mother, taking in the way she's clutching her arms, the quiet tremble in her fingers. "You call this things escalating." Angela swallows hard, her voice barely above a whisper. "They never even told me why I was being arrested." Marcus's jaw clenches. That's all he needs to hear. His fingers hover over his screen. "Then I guess it's time the world finds out." Before Marcus can make the call, another voice cuts through the tension. "That won't be necessary." A tall, older officer steps forward from the back of the station, his badge glinting under the fluorescent lights. "Captain Reynolds, Marcus's uncle." The room goes eerily still. Angela's breath catches in her throat. She hasn't seen him in years, not since a rift split the family apart. Daniel stiffens. Captain, aye. But the captain's icy glare silences him. He turns to Marcus, his expression unreadable. Step into my office. Marcus hesitates. He doesn't trust his uncle, not after everything. But one look at his mother, still shaken, still vulnerable, tells him he needs answers. He pockets his phone and follows the captain through the station, every eye watching him go. Inside the office, the door clicks shut. The captain leans forward. Marcus, you don't understand what you've walked into. His voice is low, urgent. This isn't just about your mother. It's bigger than you think. Marcus folds his arms, his jaw tight. Then explain it to me. Captain Reynolds exhales, running a hand over his face. There's been an internal investigation for months. Corruption runs deep in this department. Daniels isn't acting alone. His family, his grip tightens. So, what? You want me to walk away? The captain shakes his head. No, but if you go public without the full picture, they'll bury the evidence and come after you next. A tense beat passes. Then Marcus slides his phone across the desk. Then you help me expose all of it. The captain studies him for a long moment before nodding. Back in the main room, Daniels watches as Marcus and the captain emerge. But something has shifted. This isn't just about Angela anymore. It's about taking the whole system down. The station is silent as Marcus and his uncle walk toward Angela. Daniel shifts nervously, sensing the power dynamic has changed. He opens his mouth to speak, but before he can, the captain nods to another officer. Take him in. Daniel stiffens. Wait, what? You think we haven't been watching you? The captain says coldly. You crossed the line one too many times. The officer cuffs Daniels, and for the first time, real fear flashes in his eyes. Angela exhales, finally feeling the weight lift off her shoulders. Marcus wraps an arm around her, steady and reassuring. You're safe now, Mom. As they step outside, the cool night air hits them. Angela looks at her son, pride and gratitude in her eyes. You didn't just fight for me, she says softly. Marcus nods, looking back at the station. No, this was bigger than us. And it wasn't over yet.